In a bid to secure a ceasefire to end the Israel-Hezbollah conflict, the U.S. envoy Amos Hochstein met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Tel Aviv. The U.S. envoy also met with Israel's Defense Minister Israel Katz in Tel Aviv on Thursday. Israel says its aim is to secure the return home of tens of thousands of people evacuated from its north due to rocket attacks by Hezbollah. Earlier, the U.S. envoy met with Lebanese Parliament Speaker Nabi Berri in Beirut. Berri has led mediation efforts on behalf of Hezbollah. Hochstein said on Tuesday that an end to the war was within our grasp. All right, Dear India's Jessica Taneja joins us for more. Jessica, good morning. Now, we've seen how the ICC has issued arrest warrants against Benjamin Netanyahu and the former defense chief. Help us understand how grave and how binding is this development?
Well, it certainly is in a sense, and if you see the developments of the last 24 hours, the Israeli strikes have continued in the city of Darya. Now, that particular region is packed with Hezbollah army and, of course, the current headquarters as well. Striking that particular region gives a clear message at this moment from Hezbollah that even though the ceasefire talks are in continuation and have not seen any kind of fruition till date, and as you mentioned in the report as well, Amos Hochstein, Joe Biden's special envoy to resolve the crisis and possibly arrive at a peace agreement, hasn't been able to make a lot of headway. And the negotiations that are ongoing, we do know that the hostilities would not end in the near future, as understood by the reports of injuries and the people who've been killed so far in the Israeli strikes, both in the West Bank, and it continues in Lebanon as well. And of course, the Israeli army, as you know, has been announcing for evacuation of those particular regions. But for the Lebanese and their new commander-in-chief after the previous two were gunned down by the Israeli forces, the new commander-in-chief, Naim Qassem, has said that the peace negotiations would only be acceptable if the Israeli side kept their part of the deal, which is not to strike Lebanon and, of course, a removal and withdrawal of their forces from the south of Lebanon, Preeti.
All right. Also, now that we've seen there have been calls for the war to end and how we've seen mediation efforts are continuing, get us the latest status of the efforts, and do we really see a solution in sight in the near future?
From what we understand from the reports at this point, well, the U.S. Special Envoy Amos Hochstein has been trying to convince both the sides to arrive at a deal that would end the hostilities in a region that has seen more than 3,500 people dead since the Israeli strike began on the Lebanon side. We know the hostilities from the other side, with the border at Gaza, but particularly convincing the Hezbollah side for complete cessation of activity, especially along the border in the north, as you heard the Israeli Foreign Minister, Israel Katz, also point out. For the Israeli side, they want to put their, people back in the region. Approximately 60,000 of them were evacuated, and that has been a promise by this current coalition right-wing government in Israel. On the other hand, the Lebanese side from Hezbollah, which the negotiations seem to stick to a point where Hezbollah feels that the situation should return to what the United Nations Security Council Resolution 1701 could bring in. And that had ended the hostilities in 2006, when you remember. And that is what the Lebanese side would want, because that would see the withdrawal of Israeli forces along the blue line. And that particular region is, of course, very important because along the Litani River is where we see this conflict currently play out, where the Israeli settlement, along with the Hezbollah fighters, have continued that conflict. So if there is a withdrawal from that particular region where the Israeli forces continue to say they will only accept a peace deal if they are allowed to supervise, in a sense, if the Hezbollah attacks, they are allowed to take any kind of military action, something the Hezbollah side will not agree. So it'll only depend on how much time the transition government of the Biden administration is able to do in the next 20 days, because in the last 1 year, those efforts have gone in vain.
All right, we leave it here, Jessica. Thank you for joining in with those details.